we have a story that Christian sent me, dropped yesterday, but he just found it, and we want to talk about it. Apparently, there is a report that Disney, specifically Iger, is upset with the 2026 movie slate. And this is from the Direct. We're looking at Matthew Goldenberg. Disney CEO Bob Iger is reportedly displeased with Marvel Studios' dearth of scheduled theatrical releases for 2026. While it might seem impossible for Marvel to get at least one more movie into theaters within roughly the next 18 months, there are ways that the Kevin Feige-led subsidiary could still lure ticket buyers between now and the release of Avengers Doomsday. Doomsday, the first big screen Avengers adventure in 7 years and the fifth Avengers film overall, was recently delayed from May 1st, 2026 to December 18th, 2026. Just a day later, two other unnamed MCU movies were removed from their respective release dates of February 13th, 2026 and November 6th, 2026. This leaves just one other movie besides Doomsday on Marvel Studios' docket for the next year, Spider-Man Brand New Day, currently scheduled to swing into theaters on July 31st, 2026. According to the Insider, this lack of output has severely vexed Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, especially because Brand New Day, like all MCU Spider-Man movies, is a co-production with Sony and thus offers Disney a greatly diminished share of the box office. Even given the substantial amount of time it takes to produce an MCU movie, Marvel Studios isn't completely bereft of options for wooing fans to theaters next year. There are at least two ways Feige and team could still save 2026. Anniversary screenings of beloved MCU hits with special footage. That's actually not a terrible idea.
I'm into that, man. I'd be there.
Yeah, especially if there were ones you didn't get to see in IMAX or something like that. This past April, Disney discovered that audiences are willing to pay to see older franchise offerings on the big screen. The 20th anniversary re-release of Revenge of the Sith opened to a staggering 42.2 million worldwide. There's no reason Marvel couldn't follow suit. They have a myriad of fan-favorite films celebrating big anniversaries in 2026. Thor and Captain America, the first Avenger, both turned 15. Captain America Civil War and Doctor Strange both turned 10, as does the original Deadpool, a Fox production now owned by Disney. Although all these movies are currently available for streaming on Disney+, so is Revenge of the Sith. Audiences will pay premium prices for a premiere experience. This might be especially true if Marvel Studios were to include special footage with these screenings. Now, that could come in several forms, such as expanded cuts into which deleted scenes have been reinserted, similar to what Sony did with Spider-Man No Way Home. Behind-the-scenes bonus material that plays before or after the movie, similar to what Marvel did with Avengers Endgame. I definitely went back like a second and third time to watch those. Or a special extended preview of Doomsday, similar to how Warner Brothers attached a lengthy preview of Superman to the Minecraft movie earlier this year. It's not hard to imagine that Marvel fans would be enticed by these kinds of bonuses, especially if they are otherwise starved for new superheroics. Rethink new Disney Plus shows as theatrical MCU releases. This seems like the far less likely route given the financial and logistical hurdles, but another option could be for Marvel Studios to reconceptualize at least one of their upcoming Disney Plus shows into a theatrical movie. For example, the 2026 Punisher reboot, which will see Bernenthal return as Frank Castle, could be lengthened from an hour-long special presentation to a 90-minute feature. Conversely, Wonder Man, which stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as actor turned superhero Simon Williams, could potentially be partially reshot and re-edited to accommodate a more theater-friendly runtime. The program will consist of 8 30-minute long episodes and is currently scheduled to debut in December of this year. Well, fans wait to see how Marvel Studios will choose to beef up their slate for 26. They could take comfort in knowing that the next chapter in the MCU, the heavily anticipated Fantastic Four First Steps, hits theaters in about a month. Okay. So yeah, Coy. What do you think, man? I find it interesting because Iger comes in and goes, "No, this is too much. This is 50 of these, it's 40 of those. I don't want any of that. I want to trim it down. Give me like just a couple. I don't want anything other than that." And now he's like, "What the fuck is this?
Not enough. More days. More."
I'm always excited to talk about trade coffee. Coffee's not just a drink. Honestly, it's like a ritual. It's a lifeline. It's the bridge between when you're half asleep and you're ready to just conquer the day. I know it is for me. And if it is that essential, why do you want to settle for anything less than extraordinary? That's where trade comes in. I love trade so much. It is part of my routine every morning. It is the #1 U.S. coffee destination. It brings you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Trade's prices are on par with grocery store brands, but the quality, though, it's for me, it's next level. Plus, you are supporting local roasters. It really is a win-win. If you're headed out on summer vacation with Trade subscription flexibility, you can pause it, you can shift delivery when you're away, and resume when you're home, ensuring that you're going to get the coffee. I swear by Trade Coffee, guys. You know I do. If you've been watching my show long enough, you know that I can't shut up about Trade Coffee. I love them. I love the different qualities. I love the quantity. I love the taste. I love the smell of it. I love Trade Coffee. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/Christian. That is a deal. That is drinktrade, TRADE.com/Christian. Get 50% off for your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/Christian.
I am on one. This is the problem with me being hungover. It's really hard to rein it in.
That was 3 or 4. I mean, frankly, we're at a yellow dollar sign at best.
Ah, God, he's gonna be so mad. Okay. I'm never going to be allowed to host again.
They don't want to not swear.
I apologize to all the parents that are listening to this with their kids on the way. That being said,
swearing, it's for everyone.
Yeah, I know. But but that being said, man, I mean, what do you think? Like, this feels like we're being kind of yanked back and forth. So what do you think about this idea now that it's like, well, now it's not enough?
I think the re-release idea is strong. I mean, I think the problem is production costs and then having to pay for marketing is 2 sets of costs, right? If you're trying to stop the hemorrhaging and if you're trying to find that, cost offset and keep the brand and spirit alive, re-releases do that. Like I saw all of the Spider-Man movies back in theaters again. Like that was a lovely time. I love anniversary screenings. I just saw The Matrix at Cosm. You know what Cosm is, Winston?
No.
So the Sphere in Vegas?
Yeah.
They built a Sphere in LA. It's not as big, but they built a Sphere Dome Theater in downtown. It's right next to SoFi. It's in Inglewood. And they played The Matrix, but they add tons of special effects to the sides, making it a 3D immersive experience. So like when he gets arrested by the Smiths the first time and there's all the cops in the opening, there's blue and red flashing lights and the whole city's around you. When you go into the program, it's all white and then you dive through all the guns and stuff. It's insane. But like, you do specialty stuff to re-release. You add deleted scenes. You add special features. That's going to cost you a lot less than a whole new movie. And you market it as a re-release. That's going to help keep the brand alive and keep the spirit. So I think that's a great idea. I was trying to get basically I hosted a lot of 22 on the road to Endgame, the marathon that led to Endgame at the El Capitan, like at their theater. They did a full marathon. I was fighting so hard for eventually there to be the shows released in theaters because I think that is exactly an opportunity to make some money. And I'd love to see Loki on the big screen. I'd love to see some of these. So like there's stuff there. I'd love to see Werewolf by Night on the big screen again. I went to the premiere. I got to see it to the big screen. Very few people do. So like these are all opportunities. Licensing is tricky. Contracts are tricky. I get all that. But it's probably still cheaper than making a whole movie. So I think it's a good move.
No, I agree. I think the re-release is a good way to go. And I genuinely think that what you tipped your hat to, I think specifically start with releasing the Disney Plus shows that hit in theatrical releases. And you can do them in chunks. You can go like the first half of WandaVision, the second half of WandaVision. You know what I mean? So that people aren't like, because they're not going to sit there for hours and hours and hours. And to that point, I understand you want it from all angles. Then lean into doing that. You got Mandalorian, Mando and Grogu coming out. Do that with the first few seasons of Mando, because that's some of the best Star Wars action we've seen too. Do that with Andor. Andor did so well. You think people wouldn't turn around and want to go watch that stuff on the big screen? Like, I think those are. I get that where this is coming from is Iger is probably looking at bottom line and knowing that he came back to right the ship and then disappear again. I'm sure that there's a level of like, I don't know. Then let's do something else. I get this is your big cash cow. This is your biggest one. I also lean into if there was ever a time to go look for that young hot director and that money you wanted to make more of those $10 million, those $5 million movies, and just go let that cook.
You caught it. You caught it in real time.
But to that point, I think the re-release is the way to go, especially allowing those shows that did well to have their time in the sun. I think that would be your best bet here. But then the other part of it is like, again, okay, I guess you're not happy, but you had to sign off on delaying Avengers Doomsday, and it's because you obviously want it to be the best movie it can be, because that is going to be a massive cash cow. So
right.
I'm kind of like, there's only a certain level of complaining I feel like that can be done here, or anger that can be done here. You are the boss. You are the reason we are in this position.
It's also like, you knew what the slate was when you got back into the job. So like, you being upset about it is one, again, there's another rumor, who knows. But it's also like, what were the actions taken when you knew this going forward? Like, is it something that is fair to be upset about in this spot? But there's also stuff that isn't coming out when it was scheduled, like Blade. Like, that is something you probably were accounting for. You were probably assuming certain movies that were, you know, War Machine, stuff that was supposed to exist. So I think it's just going to be a rough patch. In like, there is rough patches in comics where things aren't flowing well. Then you look back and you're like, oh, we're through that. Things are good again. I think we're just entering a new era where hopefully with Fantastic Four, people show up again, because I think Thunderbolts was the quality people have been demanding, but people didn't show up in the quantity that was required. I hope Fantastic Four is both quality and quantity for Marvel.
No, absolutely. I mean, dude, I certainly hope that. And I know there were rumors that the post credits leaked online, and apparently people were like, oh my God, like they're actually losing their mind over it. And I was like,
oh, badly?
In a good way.
Okay.
They were like, no, this changes everything. This is cooking. And I was like, okay, like the funny thing was that got more news, because there was definitely news about how the movie worked really well, but there are definitely issues like that. Those were the three things I heard. I was like, here are the things that work. Galactus being the main one, which makes me incredibly happy. They're like, it's like he got ripped out of the page. He is terrifying. He clearly is like a force of nature type situation. They got it right. That has been said. There was some bad stuff. I don't remember a lot of it. I think it was kind of some of the dynamics throughout the film and some of the pacing. Who knows if that gets tweaked a little bit. But then the last thing that was talked about were the post-credit scenes and how they were like, bro, we are ready. Well, let's go. Like, that is what I have heard. So I am excited for that. That should hopefully keep us going into stuff. But yeah, I think other than that, like I saw someone in the comments go, how do you even do, okay, you split it at the season up, how do you pay for multiple tickets? I was like, I mean, you got to think about it the same way you would think about going to a movie. When you went to, say, for example, Infinity War and Endgame, I mean, you sat through 2-3 hour movies, but like, think of it that way. Those were technically shot as one film. That is one giant film that they broke up for obvious reasons. It'd be the same thing. So it literally would be, okay, cool. You're going to see, you know, WandaVision, what was it, like 9 episodes? You're going to see like 1 through 4 and then 5 through 9 or whatever. Logically, time-wise, that makes sense. Wherever that cut makes sense. I think you would just do something like that. And if you want to charge a little less, I don't know if they charge less for Revenge of the Sith, or they charge a full price ticket.
I think it was full price. And like Reloaded and Revolutions, Matrix 2 and 3 were shot together and released like 3-4 months apart. I think it'd be, the people that want to go see it in theaters can pay for it. I would also do, like, I know sometimes special presentations are excluded from A-list. I think these should be included so that way they can get some box office from those clicks. Like, I think re-releases should be included. I get that like UFC fights aren't included because that's pay-per-view. But I think they should open up certain things like re-releases to A-list.
I have always said that what Disney should have done a long time ago, especially knowing there was a point in time where they were talking about buying some of like these movie theaters, which you get into monopoly territory, which is I think what stopped them. But you have enough of a relationship with these theaters. They need to do something along the lines of, if you were a Disney Plus subscriber, and maybe it's a combo. If you're a Disney Plus subscriber and you're an A-list member, then you get either all the special presentations that you can just go to. But I was saying, if you were a Disney Plus subscriber, you should get a situation where, you know, depending on what tier you're paying for, you get X amount of tickets to go see the Disney movies if they're out on the big screen. Because then obviously you will tie that into they already tie A-list stuff into the box office anyway, butts in the seats, concessions, all that kind of stuff, whatever, right? So if you have Disney Plus, Moana 2 obviously will eventually come to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You're just going to have more people go to that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a certain level that I think would just kind of amp all of that up. And then you could also justify this ridiculousness of raising these prices, because you can't justify it when there's less content coming out on these platforms. and yet you want me to keep paying more and more and more. Offer me more. So if you're not going to give me more content on the streamer, give me another perk. And then that's an easy way to go, hey, look, we're actually going to charge you like 30 something for Disney Plus, but you get, you can take your whole family to go see Lilo and Stitch now. Like you get, whether it's once a month, once every 2 or 3 months, you have these amount of tickets now to go see this in person. And now you're getting people to go back to the theaters, which is going to get people to buy more concessions. You're going to encourage their friends to do that stuff. All of that stuff by itself automatically kind of gets you. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
Yeah, but that's just me. It'll be interesting to see what if they come up with a plan for this. If Iger is really that upset, what is going to be the pivot, man? Now I forgot to tell y'all, the number we have to beat is pretty absurd. It is 222. I thought it was going to be manageable because I watched all of the show with Roxy earlier this week. It was like 80 something. I was like, we could do that. Yeah, it's 222. So go ahead and send them in. We're at about 8. That's just not a great starting point, but we'd appreciate any and all help to try and get to that goal. It's a lofty goal. It's lofty, but maybe we can do it, man.